Hey everyone, welcome back to the WTS WaveStream podcast. Today's episode is extra special. I'm joined by one of our amazing customer success managers, Heather. She's not only a tech pro, but her entire life has been shaped by military service. First as a military kid, then as a military spouse. So today we're talking about the journey from base life to Bytes and why it matters in the tech world. Heather, I'm so excited to have you here. To start, how many years have you been here with WTS?
I have been working here for 2 years.
2 years. Okay. And what were you doing before you started working here?
I was a stay-at-home mom for 8 years.
Were you looking for a career during those 8 years you stayed at home?
Yes, for the first little bit I was, and we just moved so much, or my husband was gone so often, it was just necessary for our lifestyle to stay home. It was a lot easier.
I hear you. I was the same way. How long have you been a military spouse for?
I will have been a military spouse for 14 years in August.
And you have a unique situation because not only are you a military spouse, but you grew up with your dad being in the military, right?
Yes.
And was he in the military your whole childhood?
Yes.
Oh, wow. So how many duty stations have you been to when you include your time as a military child and as a spouse?
Wow. Okay. Well, almost 7 as a spouse and about 5 as a child,
Wow.
and twice during high school. So,
Ugh. You don't know any different, do you? This is all you
nope,
know.
this is all I know.
Did you want to be a military family or a military spouse when you
No,
were younger? No?
no, my whole life I was like, I will not marry a military man. And then I fell in love, and my husband said, I'm joining the military. And I was like, well, what do I do now?
Oh, man. Did you know when you were dating him that he wanted to do the military?
No, he made the decision about 6 months after we were dating.
Okay, so when we first hired you, you were in El Paso, right? Or when we first interviewed you?
Yes.
And then you moved to Kentucky, right? And then now, now you're in Kansas.
And it's
Oh my
funny because
God.
I still, like, when I'm talking to people, I'm like, oh, how long have you been in Kentucky? And they're like, we're in Kansas. I'm like, oh, yeah, sorry.
How
I
long
get
have you
those
been in a
too.
state that starts with K? Okay, so you were a stay-at-home mom, but I know that military spouses who are stay-at-home moms do a lot more than just staying home with their kids. There's a lot of volunteer opportunities. There's so many different parts of the military lifestyle that spouses are expected to participate in. And I think you get so many different skill sets by participating in these roles. You don't think of them as career helpers, but they really do. What types of things did you do that helped prepare you when you didn't even maybe think about it in the moment, but helped prepare you for a career?
That's very true because throughout staying at home, I did do a lot of volunteer work, and I never thought of it as,
Mm-hmm.
a career building. But I was an FRG leader one time, and we did a lot of organization of people and events. And I also was a substitute teacher for a little bit, and we did a lot of PTO work and a lot of things where you have to organize people, teachers, resolve issues. And I never really thought of that as building a career, but it really was. I was able to
Yeah.
use device like technology in a way as well.
Well, and to our listeners, FRG stands for Family Readiness Group, and they really are the major support system for all of the military families. Because when you move to a new location, you're so isolated. You often don't know anyone. And it's those family support systems like the FRG that make things so much smoother when you're trying to acclimate to a new place.
Right. And a lot of the new spouses that would come in would look to you for help, for, guidance through how to, where do I go to get my ID, or, how do I get groceries here? Just the smallest things. And it's always helpful to have somebody there for you whenever you have to move so far away from your family, especially the people that did not grow up in the military
Oh,
lifestyle.
yeah. And you really
Yes.
become a leader in that little community of your area because you guys have to depend on each other so much. And I think you learn so many leadership skills by helping other people and learning to work with different personalities and different people from different backgrounds and it all different age groups and demographics. It's a really unique experience.
It definitely gives you more compassion when working with other people, of their background, their point of view. Why do they think this way? Let me see how I can navigate talking to them. It really helps.
I could see that being a really good segue into what you do now as a customer success manager, working with all different types of customers, different personalities, and then even the people around you that you're working with to deliver a goal.
Yes. And I know a lot of people think, personal friendships and work friendships shouldn't collide, but
Mhm.
sometimes it is helpful to know why somebody behaves the way that they do so that you can have more compassion and talk with them a different way.
And don't you think in tech, you can learn certain skills or what they call hard skills, but those soft skills, they really can't be taught. You have to experience them and understanding the problem you're trying to solve or what the people are trying to say or communicate what they need could be two different things, what they actually want to happen and what result they want versus what they're communicating because they may not have the tool set or the skill set or the words to describe it adequately. And you being able to try to read the room and understand what their need is, I'm sure is a huge asset to your job.
Yes, it really is, because there's so many different terms for technology
Mm.
and how to express, I want to get from point A to point B. And how do I ask for that? You got to be able to talk with the customer and see where they're coming from.
Yeah, read between the lines.
Yes.
According to Blue Star families, over half of military spouses still say finding work is one of their biggest struggles. Why do you think it's still so hard, even in the age of remote work?
I think because when you look at resumes or when you are applying for a job, you don't see that this is, hey, this is a military spouse. This is why her resume looks like this. You just see the paper. And so it's a little splotchy. You've got gaps here where you had to be overseas and couldn't work, or you have a year of work here. It's like, why were you only there for a year? And if that's what an employer is looking at, like just the resume, it looks a little bit unreliable, and they may not choose you over someone who has a steady, full resume.
Yeah, a paper resume doesn't paint the full picture of what we're capable of. And I don't know about you, but I felt like when you move every to 3 or 4 years, you're sitting there planning pretty much 3 to 6 months before the move. Your head's in a different place. You're spending so much time preparing for the move. Then you get there and it takes another 3 to 6 months to acclimate and get used to your surroundings and get to know people and network before you can start looking for a career. And if you're moving every 1 to 2 years, that really limits the amount of time that you can actually work at that location. And it's really, really difficult to keep that up, especially when you know it's just going to happen again and again and again. It's very defeating.
Exhausting. Yes. And then when you get into a career and you're in it for a year, you're making connections and, creating a community and giving yourself opportunities to move up in the company. But if you have to move, then it's like you have to start that community and connections all over again. And so you may not get the opportunities to move up as well as somebody who had been there for 5 years.
How frustrating. WTS offers 100% remote work for our military spouse program. How has that flexibility impacted your life or your career planning?
It's helped me a lot. We have, in the last 3 years, we have moved 3 times.
Oh
Well,
my gosh.
as of May 22nd, we have moved 3 times, and I've been able to keep my job with WTS and not have that unreliable feeling of like, what like finances, and I've been able to keep my job and move with my job. So that's been very nice. And I've been able to stay steady and moving forward in progress with my job versus having to start over again, which is very frustrating.
Oh, yeah. And then whenever you're moving your family to a new state or country, it's already so stressful trying to find doctors and housing and schools and managing all of that. You're like the ultimate project manager for your family. And having to also worry about finances and or career on top of that is almost just too overwhelming. So I could see how that was a huge relief for you and your family.
Yes, that takes a huge weight off of my shoulders because when we move, like you said, it's setting up everything. And you also have to deal with like your family's emotion, like a regulating your emotional,
Oh gosh,
like
yes.
your family's emotions and the tears and, having to incorporate them as soon as possible so that they can
Hmm.
have a good fresh start. And having to worry about finding a job through that or financials through that would be really tough, really stressful.
Military spouses often bring unique skills to the table professionally. How do you think your lifestyle and background have shaped how you show up at work and in your role as a customer success manager?
I believe that when I am at work and being flexible and resilient is very helpful because I'll be working on something and then like two other things come in and I'm like, okay, switch, switch your roles, switch what you're
Hmm.
doing, switch who you're talking to, being able to multitask in that way and be resilient. And when a problem like occurs, it's not, oh my gosh, this problem, like it's just business. Get to business,
Right.
start solving the problem. I feel like that happens so often in the military. You could have one plan for a few months and then it just switches on you and you have to change your whole plan.
Mm.
And being a military spouse for so long, I'm used to it now. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's not guaranteed. So at work, it doesn't affect me as much whenever we have to switch gears so much throughout the day or a lot's being thrown at me. And I think that military life has definitely benefited that.
Something that I really want to emphasize with companies who are maybe interested in hiring one of our military spouse consultants or interested in the work that we do is that it's more than just doing something good. It's more than just charity. We're actually providing a service. We're providing a talent engine of a group of people who have experience with, like Heather alluded to, multitasking, grit, learning how to work with different types of people, and a wide knowledge of different types of experiences because that we haven't had that consistency where we were able to stay in one place for a long time. We have taken volunteer opportunities or whatever we could take. And in that experience, we have been able to obtain a lot of random skills that when you know a little bit about a lot of things, you're able to apply, things in different domains into it. And I think you become a better worker rather than just knowing one thing really well. You're able to pull from different experiences that you've had in your life. And I think that adds a huge asset to any team or any role.
I was like,
Guess what, Heather?
oh no,
It's time for rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
I'm so ready.
Okay.
Rapid fire round.
All right. What's a tech gadget you can't live without?
I hate that I'm going to say this
Oh.
because I've always been the type of person who's like, you don't need your technology with you at all times, but my cell phone.
Okay. What's your most used emoji?
The sideways crying laughter emoji.
Oh, okay. I was going to guess because I feel like in our work group chat, it's always the huggy emoji, the 100, or the laugh cry. So I was going to guess one of those three. Are those your top three?
Probably yes.
You can really tell a lot about someone's personality by seeing which emojis they use the most. If your job in technology were a movie title, what would it be?
The real CSMs of CPAS County.
Oh, I love it. I think we have a new reality show on our hands, ladies and gents. If you could tell an employer one thing about why hiring military spouses is a game changer, what would it be?
I would say that military spouses are underrated and undervalued, and that they are some of the most resilient women or men and women that I've ever met. And they're hard workers, and the amount of things that they get thrown at them and they just handle them with grace and get it done is something that you just have to, like we mentioned before, have to experience. And they would work hard for you and be a great employee.
Well said and well put, because this group of military spouses that we have here at WTS, they'll figure anything out. Do you feel like moving around a lot made you more adaptable or social?
Yes, I have to be, even when I don't want to be.
It's a survival skill, isn't it?
It's a survival skill. It is. And we have friends that may become our best friends. They may become acquaintances, but we are all here in this close-knit community to help each other. So whether you're having somebody over for dinner or being best friends, drinks, whatnot, it's a community and we have to have each other. So it's definitely made me more adaptable to put myself out there and be more social with people.
I feel like we also take those skills into a professional environment, because whether there's just one other military spouse or 25 other military spouses, we all kind of cling together and use each other as resources and support. And it's so neat to see it that we also do it here at WTS. We're like a little family, and not in like a toxic way, but it's just we all use each other as support and resources if we need help. And it does make the remote work culture feel less isolating. It can be really isolating working remote, especially when a good chunk of the company works at an office every day. And so
Right.
that is something that's important to foster that type of culture of remote culture, but still staying connected to one another. And I think we do that really well.
We do. I've never felt isolated at WTS.
Good. What advice would you give to other military spouses who are thinking about getting into a career in technology?
I would say do it and keep applying. And even though, your resume may not look like on paper how you want it to look, keep applying and keep going for it. Somebody will recognize your qualities and bring you in, and it'll be the best hire that they've ever had.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, I read a study that was done by military spouses about how only 19% of military families feel appreciated by the public. Does that number surprise you?
It really does surprise me. And it's disheartening to feel that 81% of military spouses feel unappreciated because they do so much for our community.
Have you ever experienced that disconnect personally, where people might have thanked you for your service but didn't understand the actual sacrifices behind it?
Sometimes I have felt that way. And if somebody thanks me for my service, which I always found was very awkward to hear, but I didn't think I was doing anything. I didn't think I was doing anything outside of the box. And then you speak to other people who aren't living this lifestyle and they say, well, you are, at home all the time. You are supporting your family by yourself. Your spouse is deployed. You're having to worry about his safety. You're having to keep the house together whenever your spouse is gone. And I don't really think of it as doing anything until somebody who doesn't live this lifestyle brings it up to me.
Yeah, it really highlights it when you see a civilian family and you tell them how many times you've moved or relocated your family, or when you see your children go through it and you see how much they sacrifice, and then you realize, oh, this is kind of a big deal. Pretty little 18-year-old son, so cute. He was like, he told me, Mom, you can't control the wind, but you can control the sails. I was like, oh my gosh, Can you write a book? That's
I
so
am going to
brilliant.
use that one.
I really like that.
Wow. That's like the whole you can't control what's happening. You can just control your reaction, and your reaction is
Yeah.
the sails. How are you sailing through the wind?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
going to use that with my kids when we move.
Oh, we
I'm like,
did it,
oh,
Heather.
Yay! We
Yay.
did it.
Well, thanks for being my second podcast guest. That's a wrap on today's episode of the WTS WaveStream podcast. Huge thanks to Heather for sharing her story. From growing up on base to becoming a standout customer success manager in tech. Her journey is such a powerful reminder that behind every military spouse is resilience, adaptability, and a whole lot of untapped talent. If you're a business leader looking for driven professional consultants who bring both tech skills and life experience to the table, we hope Heather's story gave you a glimpse of what's possible. And if you're a military spouse listening in, wondering if there's a place for you in tech, trust us, there is. And we're working here to help you find it. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, and share the episode if it resonated with you. And as always, stay compliant, stay connected, and keep innovating.